Hello. How are you today? I hope everyone is doing well. I am in the middle of animal maintenance today, so we sheared sheep and um, we did some hoof trimming and things like that. And so I'm in my farm mode, which means my hair is up. And so, alrighty. So, I'm hoping this thing is recording and you guys can see me. Today's vlog is on personal rituals or everyday ritual. And what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about some of the things that I do that are everyday kind of ritual that help keep me balanced and focused on what's important in my life, and also not letting things get to me. It's pretty hard right now to not let things get to me because there's just so much going on politically and personally and in every other way. And so personal rituals help to kind of center me and put me in a positive space where I'm more focused and more centered, which then also makes it easier for me to deal with all the crazy that is going on in various fronts. So some of the things that we do to help keep ourselves centered are mostly small things, and we don't necessarily need to do some big, elaborate thing to serve our personal spiritual needs every day. One particular thing that I often do, especially if I am dealing with a lot of things moving really, really fast and a lot of stuff that's difficult to see what the outcome will be, is I will draw a tarot card every day. And my son, actually, I did this for such a long time that my son actually made me this fabulous little tarot card holder that is made out of clay, and I can pull up a card and put it in the little slot there and meditate on it while I do my personal focusing and that sort of thing. So one of the things that one could do for everyday personal ritual would be to pull a card from a deck of any kind of cards. Could be regular tarot, could be, fairies or whatever you like, and put it in front of you and contemplate what it means. One of the important things about personal ritual is that, and everyday ritual, is that our minds are very symbolically focused. We tend to understand the world through symbolism. We tend to communicate through symbolism. We tend to understand everything that way. Our minds work that way. So when we look at a card or we look at an image of something, we will start to see things in that image. And so it's helpful, I think, to maybe create a space where you can sit down and pull a card and focus on it for, say, 15 minutes or so every morning when you first get up, to help kind of ground and center and focus on what the energy of the day might be. Or you could do something like that before you go to bed. Sit down for 15 minutes or so and look at a card and think about what the symbolism is and what it might mean for personal orientation or personal magic or personal manifestation, or even what kind of dream work you might be able to do that evening. So I find tarot cards would be very helpful with that sort of thing. You can also, if you want to, cast a small circle, and it doesn't require a big, elaborate, calling in of elemental spirits or things like that. You can certainly cast a circle very simply just by drawing, energy around you. You could create a space where you can sit that's a circle of stones, or and they don't have to be big stones. They can be little stones that you picked up at the beach or whatever. Another thing that I find is really helpful as personal ritual or everyday ritual is taking little stones like this and making them in shapes like a spiral or a circle or something like that, that helps you focus, kind of like the idea of a Zen garden, those little Zen gardens, because they're kind of like the big Zen garden. the idea of a Zen garden, of course, is to, focus on being present in the moment while you rake the sand into patterns. And so that same idea would apply to an arrangement of seashells or rocks or anything like that on your altar area. So something like that could help you, kind of free your mind for some inward, work or meditation, something like that. I find that stones are very helpful to me as a earth sign. Having a nice little collection of stones to touch and do rituals with, it helps me stay grounded. I have some very nice, I have one very nice one that I use a lot if I'm feeling a little floaty, like I need to ground, and that's this hematite circle. Sorry about my hand, I sprained my wrist. It's this hematite circle, and it's kind of heavy, but it's energetically heavy. Like if things are crazy and energy is out of control or difficult to manage, this guy in your pocket, or even just against your heart or forehead, helps to clear a lot of stuff. It's very, very grounding, but also kind of almost like a magnet, just pulling things away. So this is something that you could do, that especially if you're going through especially crazy time, to ground every morning. Another personal ritual that works really well is doing a grounding meditation. It's not a bad idea whenever things are, you need to focus or help to bring yourself back to center during times that are crazy. And one of the more popular meditations that I use is where you become kind of like a tree, where you sit quietly and you, get yourself calm, control your breathing, and then send a root down from your root chakra, which is right on the bottom of your behind, so send it right down and into the earth, and visualize that root going down into the earth and anchoring you to the earth. And so that one helps a lot too. And you can, meditate on spreading your roots out and reaching into the energy of Mother Earth and connecting with trees, or any other kind of thing like that that helps you feel connected. For me, the most important personal rituals help me to ground and connect. I find that if I'm connected to nature and I'm grounded, I can handle almost anything. So that's one of the things that I do. You can also, depending upon what kind of, or elemental orientation you have, you could burn some incense and meditate on the energy that's coming from whatever herbs you're using for that. I find, spending a few minutes with my altar in the morning, making something for my altar is a very nice little personal ritual, like taking a few herbs and grinding them into some kind of incense and then burning a little bit of it, or rolling up some smudges. Probably one of the most balancing and grounding things I do is going out and taking a little walk in my herb garden. Herbs for me are like friends. I have a very close association with them, and going out to see their beauty and smell them and taste them and enjoy the beautiful flowers that they are producing helps me to bring my mind to a place of groundedness and wholeness and connectedness, so that I can go out from there into the insane world that we live in and deal with everything that's going on out there. So tarot cards, grounding meditations, meditations on, various herbs. Go out into the garden for 15 or 20 minutes, and, you can also, if you feel compelled to do so, you can also go out into your garden and leave little gifts for the fairies or for the herbs, to say thank you for everything that they do for you. The herbs do a lot for me, so I spend a lot of time out there, putting crystals and seashells and things in the garden, and just talking to the plants, because it helps me to focus on what I need to do that day. So, another ritual that I spoke about earlier on in one of the broadcasts was a thankfulness ritual that I was taught by a friend of mine, Bonnie. And she has a little cup that she puts on her altar that she fills every single day with water. And so I use this little cup because this is, what makes me think of thankfulness. It's like a stoneware, and I take it and I fill it up with water slowly and think about, as the cup gets full, all the things that I'm thankful for. My cup gets full and runs over, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I have running water. I'm thankful that I have a roof over my head. I'm thankful that I have a house. I'm thankful that, I have, many things. And so that's a small personal ritual that you can do every day to help you remember how lucky you are. And I think sometimes we get caught up a lot in what we don't have or what we can't do, and we don't really think about what we do have. And I think one of the biggest aspects of manifestation and wholeness is gratitude. I think gratitude is a big part of being able to manifest what one needs and one wants. I find the days that I spend in my garden and remember to be thankful, those are the days that help feed my soul, that help me to, function better in a day. So personal rituals can be any kind of ritual that helps you kind of ground and center fairly quickly. Like most of the rituals we do for Sabbats or full moons or things like that, we may be a half hour, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, depends on, what kind of circles you like to do. A personal ritual is just for you to help you focus and center your energy. I'm trying to think some of the other things that I've done. Writing is another one. Personal rituals, writing down like the things that I'm thankful for, or writing down the things that I would like to manifest, or writing down the things that I would like to remember each day. And you can actually, get yourself a nice little book that is pretty to look at, and maybe some pens with pretty ink, and take a little time every day writing down something that's important to you. For me, I will, around the full moon is one of the times, full moon and new moon, that I might sit down with my notebook and write down the things that I would like to have manifest into fullness. Or I might do one the day after the full moon to ask for certain things to go away, for obstacles or issues that I'm having to deal with, to have those disappear. And because when the moon is going away, then energy is that of sending away or diminishing. And when the moon is growing, then that's the energy of growing or manifesting. So use, the moon and the cycles to help guide you on your personal rituals. Again, the Sabbats are generally bigger events, and even if you're solitary, you're going to be spending a lot more time doing ritual that's not particularly for you. It's really more in service. The Sabbats and the Esbats are really in service to spirit and, Lady and Lord, to nature. But the personal rituals that you do are about you, about keeping yourself grounded, keeping yourself centered, keeping yourself whole, keeping yourself clear-minded. That's what personal rituals do for us. It's difficult to do because our society is so busy, and I know that I had a harder time doing it when I was, had a regular schedule of work that I had to go to. Now that I'm, working for myself and also retired from teaching, I have a lot more control of my schedule most weeks, and so I have more time to do something like pull a card or meditate or whatever in the mornings when I first wake up. One of the things that is important about this is it helps us to focus every day on what we want to create in our lives. One of the things that Joseph Campbell said was that we all meditate on things. Most of us meditate on how much money we don't have, and how, how are we going to pay the bills and that sort of stuff. And those meditations, we don't think of them as meditations, but they really are, because what we're focusing on is lack, and we're focusing on something that is the end result, really, of not being grounded or centered or whatever. If we take our time to feed ourselves spiritually, give ourselves a little mental break, or help us have something to look forward to, or remember what to be have gratitude about, then I think it helps us start the day on a more positive note. For me, again, one of the most positive things that I can do, and one of the reasons I love summer so much, no matter whether I'm, in California or Washington, is harvesting herbs and working with herbs really gives me an incredible amount of joy and an incredible amount of groundedness. And when I do it, I think about all the things that I could do with the herbs, and what they do, and how much I love the way they smell, and how they make the house smell, and how they make me smell, and all of the different gifts, all the different, yesterday I went out and gathered so many herbs that they wouldn't really fit in my basket. And I just kept thinking about how lucky I was that I was able to create this garden for this year, and have all of these wonderful herbs, these allies, these green allies, to walk through with me through the summer, because it's been almost a year since I moved, and there's been some really great things, but there's also been some really difficult things, and there's been a lot of crazy. Planetarily, there's a lot of crazy. Politically, there's a lot of crazy. In my own financial life, there's a lot of crazy. In the business realm, trying to sort all the paperwork out with my business partner, that's all crazy. So for me, just being in the herb garden is just pure bliss, and that for me is often my personal rituals, to just go out and be out there, and I'll sit out there, and I might sing, or just cut some herbs and talk to them, or just enjoy them. One of the things I love doing is going out there with my camera and taking lots of pictures of the beautiful flowers that they produce, and of the bees. I also find bees to be very meditative. I know a lot of people don't, but opening a honeybee hive, there's nothing about it that's not wonderful. I mean, the sound, the smell, the beauty, they look like little flying drops of amber in the sunlight. It's very calming and grounding for me. But as a Taurus, as an earth sign, things that are part of the earth, part of nature, is where I find my greatest strengths. So personal rituals can really be anything you want them to be. Ideally, they're something that feeds you. They're about you. So something that feeds your soul, something that feeds your mind, something that makes you feel grateful, something that makes you feel grounded and centered. Those are the things that your goals are with personal rituals and personal daily rituals. So I'm wondering if anybody has any questions about anything in relation to that. I see there's a couple people on. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Chris. And, if there's anything you would like to add, or any kind of personal rituals that you do that help you focus or function in ways that are helpful for you to stay in a positive space through things that are difficult or stressful to you. Anybody have any contributions or personal rituals that you already do? I'd love to find out what you guys, do. Because everybody does whatever works for them. And I would be interested in knowing what say air signs do, or what water signs do. I know one friend of mine, her personal ritual is taking a long herbal bath, and meditating on what it would be like to be a mermaid. And so she's a water sign, And she gets a lot of joy out of that. She comes out of there after half an hour, and she is like a different person. It's for her, it's getting in touch with the water. For me, it's getting in touch with the earth. I know my husband is a fire sign, and one of the things that he likes to do, there's no building a quick fire. So, if you want a fire, then ask early, because he will spend 45 minutes to an hour building a fire in the wood stove. For him, it's a kind of meditation. He also does rock stacking, which helps him focus and center as well. So people do different things depending upon how your mind works and what you connect with. So I'm curious what some of you guys do. And don't worry about, if you're not on right now and you're seeing this video later, type it in as a comment and share it with others, because it gives people ideas of what they might do. I say one of the personal rituals that I did for a long time that I really enjoyed was, making a small stone circle out of small stones, like the one that I pulled up earlier. And just doing that helps me focus, like which direction is north and where does the stone go, and south, and all of that. So I have a comment from Carrie. I have meditated for years and now use incense when I'm meditating. I also love my herb garden, although mine is much smaller. I so appreciate the ritual you shared with me on Friday for the passing of my dear dog, Kai. It really helped me say goodbye and let him go. That's important. I mean, it's important for us to remember that, our dear ones, our four-legged friends and our two-legged friends and all of our all of our green friends, that they're a part of us energetically, and we have to have some way of connecting with them when they leave, so that we can heal ourselves when they have to go. Carrie also says, I grow lots of flowers and love spending time caring for them. I can weed all day long. I find it very soothing. Me too. I don't have much weeding to do this year because I put all new soil in raised beds, and it's kind of weird to go out there and not have anything to weed. But occasionally there's a weed, and then I'm kind of delighted. Ooh, I can pull out a weed. But just I love doing things with gardens too. Like yesterday, I went out and collected some marigold flowers and some chives and some things like that. And I put them all in a big bottle, and it was very, very pretty, and then filled it with cider vinegar so that it could steep. I like to barbecue chicken that's soaked in that marinated vinegar marinade. And I like to use things from the garden. Flowers to me are just wonderful to use for cooking. I like to use them for salads, and I like to use them to make vinegars, and I like to use them to make sweets. Flowers, there's something about flowers to me that is very, very healing. There's all the colors and the smells and watching the bees on them, and they're just magical. And so that's one of the things that I like to do as a sort of personal ritual, is connecting to my food. It's one of the reasons why I like farming so much, is because if I make the yogurt, then I know what's in it. If I make the vinegar, then I know what's in it. I know what I'm feeding my physical temple, what I'm feeding my temple in this world. And that's important to me. That's part of my daily meditation, is thinking about what goes into my body. Sometimes I'm not as good at it. I don't eat any junk food ever anymore, and I don't eat any kind of GMOs. I'm very, very careful not to do that either, which makes me feel a lot better, truly. I feel completely different since I stopped. And I don't really have, my skin is clearer too, since I started being much more careful. I do still eat sugar, and I still drink alcohol, which is probably bad. But some days I think require a cocktail, at least for me. And that even could be, part of a ritual, like a sacred libation, in most cultures. Those ferments and distillations that people have done for thousands of years, they have rituals associated with them, and they're about community and relaxing and fun and letting go of the things that bother us. So when we think about personal rituals, lots of people have different ways of doing them. Maybe a less spiritual way of doing something like that would be, having a cocktail. Spiritual meditations, spiritual work, spiritual focusing every single day may help you not want to or not need to have a drink as often if you're a person who is a drinker. I find that we tend to go for the outside world relaxers and disengagers when we can't do it any other way. So that's one of the things that personal ritual can do for us, is help us to remember that we are a whole being, that we're a grateful being, that we're a spiritual being before anything else. It's like our society would like us to focus all the time on our physical body, and that our physical body is the most important thing. But really, our spiritual well-being is the most important thing. And we need to take care of the vehicle that carries our spirit, because that vehicle will carry us through all of our lessons and well if we just take good care of it. So part of a good self-care regimen really is personal ritual. Daily meditation, daily visioning, daily divination, daily relaxation, daily grounding. All of those things can help you be a much more well person, a much more relaxed person than you might think. So we're down to 3 minutes, and as I had asked earlier, if anyone has any personal rituals. Carrie shared that she has some personal things that she does that help her focus. If there's anybody else who would like to share the kinds of personal rituals that they do, that would be really fabulous. So think about that. And also, I wanted to let you know that I will be putting up a schedule for the Ask a Witch topics for July. I have only one conflict this, and what I may do is do one on a Tuesday. I'm going to a goddess art retreat that I'm teaching at in Shasta on the 18th, which is a Wednesday. And so I will be leaving. Well, I'll be leaving Tuesday, so I might have to do it Monday. I'll be leaving Tuesday because it'll take me a couple days to get down there with my truck and trailer. And then I won't be back until the following Monday. So I'll be gone for quite a while. So I'll let you know what I decide in relation to that. I'll probably do it on Monday, or I might, just double them up the next week or something. But other than that, they'll be on Wednesdays at 6:30. And also, to let you know, too, I'll be going to Viridis Genii, which is a kind of like graduate school for spiritual herbalists. It's kind of amazingly intense and has a lot of really great ethnobotanical topics by people who are, some of which have PhDs in ethnobotany, others have just years and years and years of experience traveling the world studying how people use plants. It's an incredible conference, and I got a scholarship, so I'm going to be doing that. I'll be going on the weekend, the 6th, 7th, and 8th. So the next week I'll share some of that with you. I'll still be cosmic by the time I get back, but I'll share some of that with you when I come back, and then we can, you can ask me questions or whatever about that. So. All right, well, we are at 7 o'clock, and I hope that today's vlog was helpful. Again, if you have any questions or you have any contributions in terms of things that you do as personal rituals, please feel free to write them below the video. And probably in the next day or two, I will post the schedule for July, so you'll be able to plan when you want to, be on for the Ask a Witch vlogs. And I hope everyone is well, and it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here and supporting me in this. And I'll keep you posted as I go forward too with some of the things that I'm creating for self-wellness and self-connection. I'm working on some projects that I think will be very helpful to a lot of people. So, all right, take care. Have a good evening. And remember to ask a witch if you have a problem or a question. All right, thanks. Bye.